welcome back to another episode. I'm so thrilled to be introducing so many of the amazing speakers we will have on November 16th in Sanford, Florida for TEDx Lake Mary. It'll be a beautiful event, and there's just so many amazing stories, and that's really what the purpose of this is. So Kendra, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so honored and thrilled that you'll be one of our speakers, and then also that you've taken the time for me today.
Well, it's an honor for me to have been selected, and of course, I'm excited to be here as well.
Well, this is going to be amazing. Kendra, you and my family, we've known each other for a very long time. So I was so excited when we saw your application, and it was just such an amazing and moving idea. So why don't we first just kick off a little bit about you and your journey so far?
Well, obviously, coming from a real estate background, finances are required when you buy a house. So that education started for me a long time ago. I love to help people get into their house, but also to give them advice around money. And then from there, went into the coaching realm. And again, that topic continued to follow me. And really wanted to make sure that we keep people on the up and up of how to maintain good financial balance because
Mhm.
it is the root cause of a lot of friction and frustration. So I'm, still on that journey of consulting with clients and speaking around the country on many topics. But one of them is always financial literacy. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and I think it's so great. There are so many people more than ever really talking about financial literacy and what it means to them to know the basics of finances. So is there any like specific turning point you had where you were like, this is something I want to talk about? It's not just something I talk about with my friends, it's something I want to get a worldwide message out about.
Absolutely. And for me, I think mine started because it wasn't a topic we talked about at home. And
Mm,
so I took myself down a pretty dark path financially before I awoke, if you will, or
yeah.
woke up to the fact that I needed some education around it because I didn't have any. Right. And so for me, it was being highly in debt and it being a contentious place in my marriage. Right. My husband didn't have a lot of coaching around it either. And so we just knew once we got out of debt, we never wanted to go back into it. So we're always really keeping our finger on the pulse, but also changing our children's lives and breaking that generational curse around money. So it is highly regarded and talked about in our family in the best way, but just more about education so we don't get caught in a bad position ever again.
Yeah. And I think another part of that, the education is not just knowing the budget at the end of the day, right? It's also like learning how to be comfortable with having those conversations and not letting just the concept of money bring this like dark cloud over the dinner table. What are some things that you guys have been doing to just kind of start dispelling that in your family?
Yeah, so we do a monthly budget together. Obviously, awareness is the first key, right? How do you fix anything if you're not aware that there's an issue? So we do a budget. We taught our kids how to do the budget. So that's number one. Keeping low limits on your credit cards. So you
Mm,
can't get yourself in financial issues. If you have great credit, you can always call and say, hey, I need to raise it temporarily or whatever. But not allowing yourself to go back down the path that you got off of when it was a dark situation, and then just always trying to educate yourself on a little bit. Like, I'm not a guru when it comes to
mm,
investments and money, but I always want to know a little bit about my money and really not shy away from a conversation of learning something new, but
yeah,
also trusting the professionals, right? So
definitely.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think those are things we do.
that's great. Well, I want to talk about your book and behind you. Let's talk a little bit about what was the moment that you're like, this, I have a story and I really want to put it on a book.
Oh, that's a great question. So for me, I was going to step out of coaching and take a gap year. You're
Hmm.
in that age that you understand what that is. So I jokingly told my kids, "Hey, I'm gonna take a gap year, and I think I'll start an outline and write my book." And once I started, it just kind of flowed faster than I really expected it to. And I shared with a few people that, hey, I think I'm going to make this a memoir, and I'm going to marry it to my passion of journaling, and I got a ton of encouragement. And so it just happened quicker than I thought. I started it in February of last year and we released it October 21st of 2024. So it's been a great ride. And I think, the big piece of it is just being authentic and real and vulnerable. I think
Hmm.
people learn so much more when they connect with someone on a level that,
Yes.
hey, I made that mistake too, but she got out of it and so can I. So
Hmm.
that's kind of how it started. But just really paying it forward. I think that's part of legacy, is
Yeah.
sharing. what you've been through to help other people move through it as well.
Yeah, I loved what you said about being vulnerable because sometimes people want to talk about the hard topics, but they don't want to talk about their past with the dark topics. They kind of want to just keep it level and be like, yeah, I've been there, but you don't feel like someone's been there. So it's a huge, huge part of any stage, and it's part of any good talk or any good book is people feeling like they're walking in that shoes with you or they felt there. Switching topics just a little bit. Tell me a little bit about TEDx. So, where did TEDx first float for you, and when did you start thinking, "Hey, this could be a talk I could give. I could be on that stage"?
That's a great question. So it's always, I won't say always, I will say probably about the last 5 years, I started watching different TEDx talks and TED Talks, and kind of they would pop up in my feed. I'm like, oh, this is a topic I care about, and I would watch it. And it just kind of was stirring in there, like 5 year vision, 10, probably started in a 10 year vision. I wasn't sure I was ready. And then
Mm.
5 year vision came about. And so for me, I just started saying, I'm going to put myself out there and
Love
I'm
it.
going to submit some applications. And when the timing is right, I know that I'll be selected. And so it happened for us together, and I'm grateful for that. But as far as the topic, again, I think that money is a taboo topic. The generation I
Mm.
grew up in, it was taboo. And then, a lot of our friends aren't doing great things to help their kids not make the same mistakes. And so I was like, you know what, this is a topic that I feel very comfortable speaking about, because I lived it from a young age of not talking about it, then getting myself in trouble, figuring out how to get out of trouble. And I'm not ashamed of that, because I think there are more people relate with that. And as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, I didn't have a rule book for that either. So, financing has followed me my whole life. So it was
Yeah.
time to say, hey, this is something I'm passionate about, and paying it forward. And
Mhm.
so I'm grateful for the stage to be able to do it. I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous.
Oh,
but
I'm so glad. Yeah, yeah. I'm so
yeah,
glad
but
that you said that.
I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Well, again, I'm so glad that you said that because my next question is how do you feel going into November now, giving the stage? Like, what are some things that you're thinking about now that, that application process is over, now you're preparing for the talk?
I would say I'm very, very grateful for the coaching opportunity. I've been coached for the last 20 years, personally, professionally, financially, spiritually. And so I love having a coach and somebody helping me avoid some of the pitfalls that I may or may not know. I've never done this before. So,
Mhm.
as far as how I'm feeling, grateful for a coach. I'm excited for the experience and looking forward to just really growing as a speaker, and excited to share the message that we create.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way, or I felt that exact same way last year. And also what you were saying about the 10-year vision instead of maybe the 5-year vision. I remember when my dad first came to me and he was like, "You should give a TEDx talk." And I was like, "Yeah, right. Like, sure, for sure. No, it's gonna happen." But then when it did, and I got my acceptance and I gave mine at Cherry Creek HS in Denver, Colorado, is that the first thing that they tell me is, "Hey, you're gonna go through coaching." I go, "Oh my gosh, thank God." I don't know how I'd be able to do like I've written speeches my whole life. It's not that big of a deal, but it's like this is a big deal, and
Yes.
I'm so grateful that someone's gonna hold my hand, tell me what's right or wrong, and someone who's been there, like, thank you. I'm so grateful. So I know that feeling of like, okay, so no one's gonna let me fail, no one
That's right.
they've got my back. So we're so, so thrilled to have you on the stage. You just bring such an amazing presence and I know that stage is going to light up with the people that we have, you included. So thank you so much for this time. And we're so, so excited to have you on November 16th.
I can't wait. I'm all in and excited to see where it all goes. So thanks for
Woohoo!
today.
Of course. And to everyone watching, we really appreciate you as well. If you're interested in getting tickets to November 16th at the Ritz Theater in Sanford, Florida, you can go to TEDxLakeMary.com. If you're interested in being a partner or a sponsor, you can go to TEDxLakeMary.com/sponsor. Thank you so much. Talk soon.